Welcome to Secrets of the Stars, where we explore the ancient knowledge of astrology, decode your unique blueprint, and unveil how the wisdom of the sky contributes to your life. I'm your host, Abby Lutis, astrologer, mentor, and sky guide. It's time to embark on a cosmic adventure of self-discovery and understanding why you are the way you are. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to Secrets of the Stars. I'm so excited to be back here with you, and today we're going to be taking a look at the major astrology of 2024. So I have finished off at my farm house sit that I was doing over the New Year's time frame, and I have now moved into a really small beach house sitting apartment, and I'm actually only looking after plants at this house sit. All the others I have done so far, I've been looking after animals, dogs, cats, chickens, horses, peacocks, guinea fowl, you name it. So actually being at the farm was incredibly beautiful. It was out on a property in a place called Kin, which is maybe 30 or 40 minutes inland from Noosa on the Sunshine Coast. And it really is a beautiful location. But it had been challenging. Like I spoke about in the last episode, some of the storms that rolled through, and it meant that the air conditioning went down and the Starlink connection went down. So I had limited access to internet right at the time when I was doing a whole bunch of work for my business. And then I had challenges with one of the horses, and we had to get vets involved. And let me tell you, I was not a horse person when I went to the farm, but the owner there, she just said to me that she liked my vibe, and that's why she wanted me to come and house sit for her. And well, by the end of that house sit, I got to know horses very well. And I really don't feel as nervous around them and as afraid, and I can understand their nature. So that was one of the positives of being out at the farm. But it really was beautiful spending time out in nature. It was vast, and when the clouds were clearing, I got to look up at the sky and see all the stars, which I absolutely love so much. So yes, I'm at this beach house sit for just a short time, and then I'll be going I'll be staying around this area, but not in a house sit for a little while, which will be a nice break. So there is a lot to talk about when I look at the astrology of 2024. Let's jump into this episode. I'm going to be dividing this topic up into two parts so that I can really break down the significance of each transit and that you have time to digest it. I don't want to just skim over the details because I find that doesn't really give you much context of what's going on. So the first part will more or less cover the first part of the year. Actually, I think it's kind of up until about April, aside from a few things that will cross into the second half, like things like Mercury retrogrades and the eclipses. And there's kind of 2 seasons or 3 seasons for those transits. And then in part 2, I'll cover off the rest. So if you want to know how this is all going to affect you personally, I am still doing my 2024 reports and readings. And so they are on offer, and we can look at how this is going to show up for you personally. And there is also something else that I'm working on. It is very exciting. It's an astrology project. I've actually just been down in Brisbane working with my mentor on this project. And if you want to be the first to know, when I formally announce it, I have a wait list. So jump on over and pop your name on the wait list. I'll pop the link in the show notes for this, and you will be the first to know when this exciting project goes live. And I think you are going to want to know about this. I'm so excited for it. All right, let's jump in. So just to give you a bit of an overview, the astrology of 2024, there is lots of interesting things happening. There's lots of big changes, lots of big transits, and lots of empowering and opportunistic things. There's a lot of things happening with Jupiter, which is the planet of growth, abundance, good fortune. And so I see this really positive. What I want to say though is the astrology of 2025 and 2026 is much bigger than 2024. So what I'm seeing is this is like the prelude to these big couple of years that we're going to be heading into. So it's going to be setting us up for what is coming in 25 and 26. So let's jump into the episode. I'm going to be talking a lot about stelliums in this episode because there are a lot of stelliums in the first half of the year. You're probably wondering, what in the world is a stellium? Well, it is a pile-up of planets all in the one sign. And what happens when we have a lot of planets in the one sign, in the one part of the chart, in the one place in the sky, is that it really strengthens the energies and the qualities of the sign that they are in. When this occurs in your natal chart, this also applies to the house as well. So as I said, the first half of 2024 is packed with stelliums. So I'm going to be talking about all of these stelliums that are occurring. So you need at least 3, preferably 4 or more planets in a sign for it to be considered an stellium. So we jump straight in with the Capricorn stellium, and this is happening. There's actually sort of 2 parts to this. The first is from the 10th to the 12th of January, which is probably going to be past by the time, in fact, it is past by the time you get this episode, because I'm recording on the 14th of January. The second part of this stellium is on the 14th to the 21st of January. So I just wanted to note this because even if you are listening back at a later date, you can go back and have a look and see the themes and things that are happening during this time. So from the 10th to the 12th of January, we have the Sun, Moon, Mars and Pluto in Capricorn. And then from the 14th to the 21st of January, we have Sun, Mercury, Mars and Pluto in Capricorn. So during this time frame, you can really access these Capricornian energies with ease. Capricorn is the mythical sea goat, which can climb to the top of the mountain and it can swim to the depths of the ocean. And it is motivated, it is determined, it is goal orientated. It wants to succeed. Capricorn is cardinal earth energy. So this is grounding, initiating energy. So what it's really telling us is that if you're in need of discipline or determination and grit, then this is a transit for you. This is hardworking energy that accomplishes goals. It's responsible, it's practical, it's traditional, it's cautious, it can be shy, and it is also strong feminine energy. This stellium is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is here to teach us lessons. It's here to whip our butts into shape and really tell us to have some dedication and focus for the long haul. So this is brilliant energy for the start of the year. If there are things that you want to accomplish this year, goals that you have set for yourself, this is perfect energy to get a start, to get moving on these energies. So that's the first thing. Then we move on to Pluto moving into Aquarius. This is what everybody's talking about in astrology, and this happens on the 21st of January. This is a big, big shift that we will get a taste of for a few months until Pluto goes retrograde back into Capricorn, which happens September and November. And the very beginnings of this transit happened in March 2023 for about 3 months. So have a look back at that time frame, March, April, May of 2023, and look back here for clues, because it might give you clues as to what is going to play out in this next massive 20-year cycle for you. So as I mentioned, Pluto moves into Aquarius on the 21st of January, right after the Sun aligns with Pluto, which happens just before. like it actually is the day before, but it is only really a few hours because in Australia, where I'm recording this, Pluto moves into Aquarius in the very, very early hours of the morning on the 21st of January. So they pretty much move into Aquarius together. Now, the sun conjunct Pluto, when the sun aligns with Pluto, that happens every year, but it's still powerful. The sun illuminates things. It shines light on the Pluto energies, which are transformation, things that are hidden. It brings up all the things that are in the depths that need to be exposed. And so it's powerful energy. So then when we come to November, after Pluto has stationed direct and started moving, it'll come back into Aquarius permanently. And this is where it will stay until 2024. That's 20 years. It's a long cycle. So let's have a bit more of a look at this because this is a big deal. Pluto takes 248 years to complete an entire orbit around the sun, and it spends around 12 to 30 years in each sign. So Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008, and now it's moving into this area that is responsible for bringing power, transformation. Pluto is also death and rebirth. It's the planet of transmutation, secrets. It's the god of the underworld. And yeah, it has been, right now, it's moving through the last degrees of Capricorn. So this is government, tradition, structure, security, foundations. And this is where it's been for the last 16 years. So there's going to be a shift. The last time that Pluto was in Aquarius was in 1778 to 1798, and we saw major events such as the first European settlement in Australia, the French Revolution, the first Constitution of the United States of America, and the British made a major speech suggesting they were going to abolish slave trade. Uranus was also discovered during this time. So these are big revolutionary events that are impacting the collective on a very large scale over a very long period of time as well. So one can only speculate as to what's going to happen because we have not lived through this before. But I really think that we're going to see things like major technological advancements, no doubt in the area of AI and space travel, because these were themes that were dropping in March, April, May of last year. But they're revolutionary times. More attention is going to be brought to individual rights, activists stepping up and changing how society works. This is Aquarius. Power to the people is what everybody is saying that this transit is going to be about. Decentralization of money, media, and fashion. It's going to be now in the hands of the collective. This is large-scale transformation and progressive thinking. And this truly is a time of a new reality, a dawning of a new era, I suppose you could say. So it's pretty exciting about what's going to be unfolding. So what I want to say is that if you have significant Aquarius placements in your chart, if you have planets or points in Aquarius, this is going to have a lot of impact on you over a long period of time. And I am a Capricorn rising, so I have had Pluto moving through the first house of my chart, which is the most powerful place of your chart. And I look back to 2008 and I am a completely different person to what I am then. So I definitely can say that it will have a significant impact on your personal life if especially if you're an Aquarius rising, but also if you have planets or points in Aquarius. All right, let's keep moving. So there's another cool thing happening when Uranus stations direct, and this is happening on the 27th of January. And what happens, Uranus will station direct, which means it will finish its retrograde period, and all planets will be in direct motion. There's absolutely no planets in retrograde. So it marks a turning point and a shifting of energy that brings focus to forward motion. So the 27th to January to the 2nd of April is a unique window for this year. And this 9 weeks is a chance to capture that forward moving energy. What do you want to move forward? You know, if your year has not gotten started like you had liked, if you want to start a health regime or a project or a business, or you know, if you want to plan some travels or whatever it is that you want to do that you need a little bit of support to move forward, then this is a unique time. It won't happen. It's only 9 weeks of this year. And it's just one window. So take advantage of this time to take action, to move forward, to get up, to go, or just enjoy the motivation that is going to come with all planets moving forward. Okay, next we move into an Aquarius stellium. So there's 2 Aquarius stelliums and they're pretty close to each other. So between the 9th and 10th of February and the 13th and the 22nd of February. And the significant days are the 17th to the 18th of February because there'll be 5 planets in Aquarius. We have the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Pluto. So during this time frame, this will be about accessing Aquarian energies. So Aquarius is the water bearer, and it wants to serve the collective. Aquarius is fixed air, so it's unique, it's innovative, it's futuristic. Aquarius is the activist. It is detached, can be detached, and it's intelligent energy. And Aquarians can be a little bit of weirdos, right? I can say that because I have an Aquarius moon and this happens in my inner world, in my psyche. So yeah, they can be interested in things that not everyone would want to go down a rabbit hole with, you know? So this is going to be a great time for embracing your unique individual self, time for serving your community, serving the group of people that you know you're interested in, or standing up for a cause, looking for looking for revolutionary breakthrough, then this transit is for you. So, you know, during this time we might see more chat about aliens, about UFOs, because Aquarius is futuristic and it represents space and technology as well. So technology advancing, we're definitely going to see that because we're already seeing that, if I be honest. Innovative projects will be unveiled. It's going to be a real cool time. So that is going to be between the 9th, let's just say the 9th and the 22nd of February, and the key timeframes being the 17th and the 18th of February. Then we move into a Pisces stellium pretty much almost immediately, the 24th of February to the 7th of April. And in particular, this is quite a big stellium. It's a big time frame for, you know, it's like around 6 weeks that we're going to be able to have access to these Piscean energies. The super strong days will be the 9th and 10th of March because we have the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Saturn, and Pluto. I'll say that again. So we have 5 planets, the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Saturn, and Neptune, not Pluto, because Pluto's in Aquarius. We just spoke about that. But during this time, yeah, this is strong Piscean energy. Pisces is the 2 fish. They swim in opposite directions. And this signature is really about the higher realms and connecting all of those higher realms, that spirituality, things that are perhaps not of this earth, connecting them down to earth. Pisces is mutable water. It's mutable is always changing. I like to think of Pisces as the big open ocean. It's big, it's wild, it's crazy, it's stormy out there, but sometimes it can be calm and glassy and not a breath of wind. So it is always ever changing. But Piscean energy is very connected to the creative, the mysterious, the romantic, the artist, the musician, spirituality. And, you know, if that's what you're trying to connect with, then use this time, use this energy. Pisces can also be elusive. It can want to escape. You know, this can be a light energy and it can be a shadow energy. So, you know, if you need to get away during this time, maybe it's a great time to be going away, to be escaping what's going on and just connecting into your spiritual practice. Pisces is also the last sign of the zodiac. And so it can indicate major endings because it's the very last piece before we then start the cycle again with Aries. So that's an interesting one. I'm fascinated in this transit because it is so long. Like this stellium is around for 6 weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. All right, let's move on to eclipse season. So eclipse season, there are 2. There are always 2 every year. They have eclipses. The seasons that we'll be looking at this year are between the 25th of March and the 9th of April. And then the second one is the 18th of September to the 3rd of October. So eclipse energy is dynamic. It can be blindsiding. It can bring sudden changes to the light, to our awareness. And eclipses really represent major endings and major beginnings. So let's have a look at these eclipses. There are 2 main types of eclipses, and then within that there are even more different types of eclipses. So let's just keep it simple. We're going to be looking at the solar eclipses and the lunar eclipses. A solar eclipse occurs on a new moon when the moon aligns with the sun, and a lunar eclipse occurs on a full moon when the full moon aligns with Earth and the sun. All right, so eclipses always occur in pairs, a solar and a lunar eclipse together. They're usually 2 weeks apart, similar to the new and full moon. Occasionally there can be a third eclipse, but not this year. And as I mentioned, they happen every 6 months. So the first season of eclipses kicks off in March 2024, the 25th of March, with a lunar eclipse in Libra at 5 degrees. The lunar eclipse in Libra is going to be helping us clear away a relationship cycle that's no longer serving us. Maybe an unrealistic relationship to harmony or balance, or even this idea of people-pleasing mentality. Because Libra is relational and this eclipse is impacting Libra, this is what the story is that's going to be unfolding. Now, this story is actually in the middle. It's not complete. And you can look back to the Libra eclipse on the 15th of October in 2023 to get an understanding of potentially what themes are going to be coming up for you. So pay particular interest to this eclipse if you have planets or points in Libra, as always. And we're right in the middle of this story. So it might not necessarily be the major ending or beginning at this time, but there's a significant part of that story playing out. Then on the 9th of April, we have a solar eclipse in Aries at 19 degrees. Now, this is going to be helping you to stand up for yourself and to be confident in your self-worth. This is what Aries is all about. It's about moving out of your comfort zone and starting something new, that initiating energy. All right. So this could also be a time where there's going to be a lot of anger and frustration and potentially emotional outbursts. This is more the shadow side of this energy. And again, this is an unfolding story because we had an Aries eclipse back on the 20th of April in 2023. So look back to that time and see what was coming up for you. And again, if you have planets or points in Aries. So the second season of eclipses kicks off in September, and we start with the 18th of September with a lunar eclipse in Pisces. Now, this marks a start of a new cycle with eclipses in Pisces, and it's also ending the cycle of Libra eclipses. Okay, so this lunar eclipse in Pisces is going to be looking at how we can really tune in more to our spiritual practice, how we can really connect in with our creativity, with our artistic pursuits. It's also going to look at potentially, Pisces can represent things that we're addicted to as well and that need to escape. So there may be some tendencies. I just talked about the Pisces stellium. So there could be that tendency to want to escape as well. The solar eclipse in Libra that happens on the 3rd of October at 10 degrees Libra is ending this cycle, right? So this could be dramatic and closing a chapter that has been playing out over the last 18 months. And as I mentioned, this is likely to have to do with relationships, harmony, balance. Also, it could even have to do with a court matter, because Libra is the judge. It's wanting to make sure things are fair. Okay, so if you have planets in points in Libra, pay particular attention to this. Now, one thing I want to note about eclipses is that unlike other new and full moons, be extremely careful when engaging in rituals or ceremonies. In fact, I don't recommend it. I don't think the energy is favorable. Eclipse energy is not favorable for doing ceremonies or initiations or anything like this, because it's already powerful enough. It's dynamic, and as I said, it can be blindsiding. All right, let's move on to Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde happens 3 times a year, sometimes 4. We started off the year with a little bit of a Mercury retrograde that really ended right away, so it just sort of touched in there. But these are the 3 main ones that we'll see in 2024. The first one is in April from the 2nd to the 25th. The second is in August from the 5th to the 29th, and the final Mercury retrograde is from the 26th of November to the 16th of December, right at the end of the year there. All right. So the thing about these Mercury retrogrades is that they're all occurring in fire signs. And so this makes things a little bit easier. I want to say that because I think the fire brings a little bit more passion, a little bit more intuition, a little bit more magnetism to Mercury. All right. Mercury is about communication. It's about detail. And so I think Mercury actually does well in fire signs. All right. Well, the bad news about this retrograde, or about these retrogrades, is they're still Mercury retrograde. Okay. But, fire burns. So we need to take care around burnout, around inflammation, around things getting hot, or actually even just being burned, right? So let me talk about Mercury retrograde. It is a phenomenon where Mercury appears to be going backwards in the sky from Earth's vantage point. And in reality, Earth is simply overtaking Mercury in the sky, similar to how you overtake a car on a freeway. Both cars are moving forward, but if you're in the faster car, looking from the vantage point, it appears like the car next to you is going backwards. And so this phenomenon is said to reverse the energies of Mercury, or even turn them inward, to have an internal approach. And this is why it's suggested that we reevaluate, reconsider, rest and restore during Mercury retrograde, or during any retrograde for that matter, depending on what the themes are of that planet. So it's also a way and why, so many people may experience these technical challenges, communication breakdowns, travel challenge, because this is what Mercury is responsible for. So the first Mercury is happening in Aries. Okay. So this is this initiating energy, and it is happening, interestingly enough, when we are having the stellium, right? So there's going to be lots of Aries energy, but some of it is going to feel a little bit backward, all right? So Aries is about being the pioneer, getting started with things, initiating things. This could look like hot-headedness. It could look like reconsidering your approach to a project that you had wanted to start. It's going to be a great time. I always think Mercury retrograde is a great time to tie off loose ends and maybe rethink things that we want to do. The next retrograde that happens in August will start in Virgo, but mainly be in Leo. So Leo energy is about putting yourself out there, being the center of attention, being on stage, having fun, playing with your creativity, being childlike. It can be the leader. It's very powerful energy. And it is also considered, like in its shadow, it can be very jealous. It can be very vain, right? So maybe, Leo is also very warm-hearted. So this reversal of energy might look like us taking time to consider, where in our lives we perhaps need to bring in more creativity, more kindness and warmth, and how we can bring in confidence to express ourselves in the way that we ultimately want to. Okay, moving on to the final Mercury retrograde, which happens in Sagittarius. We had a little bit of this in the end of 2023. And so I think this might be the most challenging retrogrades of them all, because Mercury doesn't do so well in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is expansive and wants to think of the big picture, and Mercury wants to know the details, all right? So Sagittarius wants to go out and explore and adventure and learn, and it's very curious. But Mercury, it wants to look at the finer points, all right? So you might notice that you're feeling scattered, that, like communication really is challenging for you. And in a good way to use this energy, it would be about considering, what if you have adventures that you want to go on, big travels, or, audacious goals that you want to go out and do. This would be a wonderful time for, considering that and thinking those through and what you want to create in those areas of your life, all right? So this fire element is going to help us bring passion, intuition, and motivation to these retrogrades. So I don't think they're going to be as feeling so much up in your head as retrogrades might feel if they were, say, for example, in air signs, all right? Or they're not going to maybe feel so stagnant as if they were in earth signs, or, not as emotional as if they were in water signs. So that's Mercury retrograde. Okay, I've got one last thing to cover in this part 1 of the astrology of 2024, and that is the Aries stellium. All right, so the Aries stellium goes from the 7th to the 19th of April, and in particular, the 8th of April, there's going to be 4 planets in Aries, plus the North Node and the asteroid Chiron. All right, so this is a great time to access those Aries energies. Note that the retrograde phase will be happening during this time. So things could feel tricky. Things could feel confusing because Aries wants to charge forward no matter what. It's the ram, right? It wants to start. It's initiating energy, okay? It is cardinal fire. So cardinal means starting, initiating, getting moving. And fire, we've just been talking about that, very passionate, very magnetic, okay? So Aries energy is all about motivation, pioneering energy, drive, momentum. I also like to say ready, fire, aim. And like Aries like to start no matter what, even before they are ready to start. So yeah, so I think it is going to feel forward moving, but we will have the retrograde there. So just make a mental note of that. So yeah, Aries is that spark of a match. It's igniting a flame on the path that you wish to travel on. So, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac too. So this could indicate major beginnings, all right? So that's the Aries stellium from the 7th to the 19th of April. Oh my goodness, we are not even 4 months into the year. I know I have touched on some things like the eclipses and Mercury retrogrades that happen in the second part of the year, but really we're only up to, up to April. In part 2, I'm going to be covering over some really exciting astrology. Jupiter will play a significant part in the second half of the year. So there will be the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. We've got a Taurus stellium. We've got Jupiter moving into Gemini. Jupiter makes a trine to Pluto. There's one last stellium in Gemini. Jupiter's going to square Saturn. Pluto is going to have its last time in Capricorn, for our generation anyway. And Pluto is also going to sextile Neptune. And Mars is going retrograde at the end of the year. That's also going to be a big one. So that's what we're going to cover off in part 2 of the Astrology of 2024 Transits episode. So there you have it. I hope you have been able to follow along, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you're interested in booking a reading, go to my website, abbylutis.com. And remember, I have exciting things coming. So if you would like to get on that list to be the first to know when it goes live, find the link in the show notes to sign up, and you will be the first to know. I'll be the first to let you know there. And until next time, keep shining bright. Thank you for joining me on this cosmic journey of self-discovery. If you have enjoyed this episode, please leave a review and share it with someone who you think would love it. Keep exploring the secrets of the stars, and remember, the universe has woven a unique story just for you. Until next time, keep shining bright.